Hello, everyone. This is Mary Murphy saying hi from the Pix 11 newsroom, and I thought I would reach out because I have been getting messages from a number of you about the Junior case and what the status of things are. So let me give you an update to the best of my ability of what I know regarding the trial and some of the hearings. I know you know that there was a hearing in Bronx Supreme Court Monday morning, and 9 of the guys that are charged with second-degree murder were supposed to show up in court, and actually only 4 of them appeared. The others just stayed behind in their jail cells. They let their attorneys do the talking. It was basically just a status hearing for those guys that are charged with second-degree murder. Their trial will not be the first case that goes into the courtroom. That will involve the 5 men that are charged with murder in the first degree. They're supposed to have pretrial hearings at the end of March 25th, and then the trial is supposed to proceed after that. Now, I know a lot of you have asked me about cameras in the courtroom. Here's what I know so far. Judge Robert Neary is a little bit upset about all the pretrial publicity, and the defense attorneys really don't want cameras in court for the trial. Here's what I know. For some of the hearings, they have not allowed cameras to certainly be live in the courtroom. They've allowed still cameras in, and usually the video cameras can record what goes on. When it comes to the actual trial, which will probably start the earliest April, I'm told that we may only have audio recordings, possibly, for the opening arguments in the case and for the closing arguments in the case. And it's not clear what is going to happen with the testimony of the witnesses, whether cameras will be allowed to record them. This is what I am hearing. I called 2 different sources. The second source is with the Office of Court Administration. And, he told me the judge could have allowed nothing. The judge could have allowed no sound, no video. But his understanding is right now, when it comes to the opening statements in the Murder 1 trial, that at this stage, we're expecting audio only, sound only. That could change, but this is what I'm hearing right now. Murder 1, the pretrial hearings, March 25th. A lot of you know about that. I got some last-minute information that the guy who's accused of being the ringleader in Junior's murder, Diego Suero, that he actually has a status conference this Thursday. That's February 28th. But I think that will be a very short hearing. I don't think that it will be, certainly not a pretrial hearing. He's charged with murder in the second degree, so his trial is not the first trial that's going to start. What else can I tell you here? And I'm sure you've heard that there's a gag order. Technically, prosecutors, defense attorneys are not supposed to talk about the case. The judge, as I mentioned when I started this whole conversation, he's upset about publicity that has preceded the case. You are also, I'm sure, familiar with the fact that tomorrow is going to be a special day for Junior's family. The street corner of East 183rd Street in the Bronx and Bathgate Avenue, where the bodega is located, where Junior received the fatal stab wounds that ultimately took his life. That street corner is going to be renamed tomorrow, Lesandro Way. The Bronx Borough President will very likely be there, and a lot of other public officials from the Belmont section of the Bronx, and of course, Junior's family. And tomorrow is a special day in more ways than one. Tomorrow is the birthday of Junior's mother, Lesandro-Feliz. And I just spoke to her on the phone a short while ago. This will be, of course, bittersweet for her. She is proud of the fact that her son is being honored, but of course it's so hurtful that her son, her youngest, her 15-year-old Junior, is no longer with her. I'm looking at some of the statements here. Carl is writing, "I'm fine with audio. At least we will have something better than nothing. J for J," meaning justice for Junior. And Awilda is writing in. I know that she follows this page a lot. "So sad," she said. Ingrid is writing, "This is so heartbreaking." I'm getting a hi from Roxana. Hi, Roxana. Thank you for writing in. I really do appreciate all of you for following all the reports that we've done here on Pix 11 since last June. June 20th was the night that Junior was murdered. You know all about that chase that went on for blocks and blocks, and he ran into the bodega seeking shelter, jumped over the counter, and the owner initially was trying to keep him behind the counter, but the gang of guys that came in, they just insisted that they get him, and they pulled him out, and you know what happened on the sidewalk outside. Well, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., dozens and dozens, I'd say hundreds of people will be gathered on that same sidewalk as that corner is renamed after Junior. I'm getting some more notes here. My glasses aren't working so well today. Evelyn is watching from Orlando, Florida. And Anna Gonzalez is writing, what did they do with the store? Now, we had been told last August that this store was sold to new owners, but I believe that maybe they were relatives of the initial owners who were there the night that this all happened with Junior. So the store is still there, it's operating, and there was this initiative to make a number of bodegas in the Bronx and elsewhere in the city safe havens for any young person that got into trouble. And if you watch my Mary Murphy Files show every Monday, you know that last week on Monday night, we did the show about the teenager and his mom who had been killed, but that was a domestic violence situation. But a few days before that, there had been another teenager, 17 years old, who collapsed in front of a bodega. He had been stabbed multiple times. That was sort of a different situation because the attack happened before he got to the bodega, but he was seeking that as a safe haven, and unfortunately it was too late. His wounds were lethal. We're hearing some more notes here. I know justice is going to be served in this case. We have Ebony watching from South Carolina, Justice for Junior. Mildred, hi from Baltimore. Bambi saying, thank you for always keeping us informed. You're welcome, Bambi. My pleasure. I'm glad I'm able to serve in some small way. All of us here at Pix 11 have really tried to keep up with this case, and we will have a number of reporters and cameras tomorrow at the corner of East 183rd Street and Bathgate Avenue. You can watch on pix11.com and also on Pix 11 Facebook Live and also on Instagram. Sue is asking, will the store be open during the ceremony tomorrow? I'm assuming that it will, but I can't say for sure. That's something we will find out when we get there. We're getting a hello from Toronto, Canada. Thank you very much. We appreciate this. You know, the Junior story has gone around the world. I've told you this before, that we've received messages from South Africa, from New Zealand, from Amsterdam, from Paris. It's amazing how this story has resonated with so many people for different reasons, it seems, although in some cases many people have the same reasons for being so touched and upset by it. The people from overseas were really, really upset at the perception that no one helped Junior, especially when he went in the second time after being stabbed. The people from out of this country, out of this state, could not imagine a young person not getting help in a situation like that. I think the people here in New York, sometimes they're used to these bad things like that happening with no one helping each other, although, of course, there are many times when a New Yorker will help another. But the people in New York, I think, were really upset about the pervasiveness of gang violence happening so much at that time last summer. So that's what forced us to really confront the issue and talk about it. And there was a major police crackdown against the Trinitarios after Junior was killed. Hello from Montana. Thank you. I believe your name is Tony. Hi from Massachusetts. From Australia. I just mentioned Australia, and I'm not sure of the time difference, but maybe Alan, our producer here, knows. I think it's about 16 hours. So it's just amazing, the people that keep up with this case and have interest in this case, and they want to know what's happening with the trial. So once again, in case you missed me at the top of this chat session, what we're hearing is that when the Junior trial starts, the earliest in April, that it may only be audio, sound, sort of like radio, that we're hearing for the opening statements and the closing statements in the trial. And it's still unclear what will happen with the actual witnesses. Judge Robert Neary is overseeing this case in the Bronx Hall of Justice, and he's been presiding over all the pretrial hearings and the status hearings, and there was one yesterday. There's another one coming up this Thursday, and one that's everyone's sort of watching out for will come on March 25th. That's supposed to be the pretrial hearing for the 5 guys that are charged with murder in the first degree, because they are the ones who allegedly had the knives and in one case had a machete when Junior was set upon outside the bodega on Bathgate Avenue. Let me see. Awilda's writing again. She's saying, I've seen a lot of street violence, Mary, but never anything so heinous against a child. Claudia's writing, will the public be allowed in? I'm going to say that I think, yes, the public will be allowed in. I recently covered the trial, the deliberation process in the trial of El Chapo, the Mexican drug billionaire who was recently convicted of pumping all those opioids into the country, and cocaine, marijuana. So when I covered his case, people were getting there to Brooklyn Federal Court at 4 in the morning sometimes, just so they could get in the main courtroom. They wanted to be as close to El Chapo as they could be. And you had to be there so early, say 5 hours before the doors even opened to the courtroom. In the El Chapo case, there was a spillover courtroom for people who couldn't get into the first courtroom. So because there were reporters there from around the world, not all the reporters could fit into that main courtroom. So a lot of us ended up in the spillover courtroom with a big television monitor to watch the proceedings. It was very dramatic, and I was there for the last 6 days of the case during the deliberations. And I can tell you, people really wanted to get into that courtroom, and so they would come very early. So I have a sense that in the Junior case, people will line up early, and the public will be allowed in, and there will be seats also for the media and, of course, for Junior's family. So, someone's writing about the accused killer who walked in yesterday with a book. I'm not going to get into much of what the book was and whether or not he knew what it was about in terms of relating to any current or prior cases, but someone walked in with a book. It was a little bit disturbing. If you go and read the Daily News at NewYorkDailyNews.com, you'll know the story about what was going on with the book. It was a true crime story, and Kevin Alvarez had a book in his hand, and some people found it mortifying. Whether or not the corrections officers knew that he was carrying that book and what the subject matter was about, I can't say. But you may want to look at the Daily News about that. Anyway, I will be at Bathgate Avenue tomorrow with a lot of other media and a lot of public officials, and of course Junior's mother, who is celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Hard to use the word celebrating because she doesn't have Junior with her anymore, but she will be marking her birthday. And what will make it special in a bittersweet kind of way is the fact that that street corner is being named for her son. A case that changed so many lives, a case that forced all of us to look at gang violence and to figure out ways we could keep our young people safer. Also, how do we educate our young people to make better decisions and to stay away from gangs and to be safer on the streets? Claudia writing, thanks, Mary. We will post your feed. I appreciate that. Claudia is the administrator on one of the main Facebook pages that keeps up with the Junior case. So I appreciate that, Claudia. Thank you very much. I hope you will join us on Pix11.com and Pix11 Facebook Live tomorrow. And I will try my best also, obviously, to feed from the site on the Mary Murphy Mystery page when the new street corner is named for Junior. Thank you for keeping up with all our work. And any questions you have, I'll do my best to answer them on my page or in one of these chats. Thank you again and have a good evening.